Hey guys, welcome to our weekly news show here on Backstage with Millionaires. I'm Caleb, your host, and what an exciting week it has been in India's startup ecosystem. We have this really exciting EVage to talk about. We also have nCore Games, the creators of EVage, getting now into Web3 games and also potentially NFTs. We also have the first ever Indian wedding happening in the metaverse, and this was hosted by a Chennai-based startup. And we also have Boat going public next week. It's right around the corner. And we're going to be talking about all of these things and more coming up right after this. All right, so first up in the news, check this out. This is an electric commercial vehicle, a delivery truck, created by a Chandigarh-based EV startup called EVage. Now, I know that this looks like a 3D render. It doesn't look real, but they actually have 5 of these things on the roads right now, and they're planning on creating thousands by the end of this year. Now, the obvious question here is, how are they planning on doing this? Well, they actually just finished raising $28 million in a funding round led by RedBlue Capital, and they're going to be using these funds to set up a factory in Delhi by the end of the first quarter of 2022. All right, next up in the news, nCore Games, the creators of EVage, are planning on developing Web3 and play-to-earn games. And also in the next few months, they might be launching NFTs and their own proprietary tokens. Now, to do this, they've raised $10 million in a funding round led by Animoca Brands and Galaxy Interactive, and also Polygon participated in this round as well, along with 17 angel investors. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about NFTs in video games. I'd love to get your thoughts in a comment down below. I'm personally on the fence about it. I think that big video game publishers and studios often use them as a money grab the same way that they have with microtransactions in the last decade. But I also think that it's a really cool idea for smaller video games and smaller studios, indie projects that you actually want to own a piece of. I don't know which direction it's going to go in with nCore Games specifically, but we'll definitely keep you guys posted one way or another. All right, next up in the news, at this point we've all heard about Zoom weddings. This is a trend that started in 2020 with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, and then it moved into 2021, and now here we are in 2022 struggling with the Omicron variant of COVID-19. And now people are starting to have weddings in the metaverse, and for the first time ever, an Indian couple in India are going to be celebrating their wedding in the metaverse too. Now, the wedding itself is going to be happening in the real world. It's going to be happening in the bride's village amongst family and friends on February 6th. But then on February 7th, they're going to be hosting a reception in the metaverse. This reception is going to be Hogwarts themed because the bride is a big fan of Harry Potter, and everything that goes into this experience, like the avatars and the clothing, as well as the metaverse itself, is going to be created by a Chennai-based startup called Tardiverse, which has developed their platform on top of Polygon blockchain technology. All right, next up in the news, Boat is going public next week. They're planning on raising 2,000 crore rupees from this IPO, and this is going to make them the first ever Indian D2C startup to go public, and the first profitable one at that. Now, looking at Boat's financials between 2020 and 2021, we can see that their revenues have gone up by 2x, from 700 crore rupees to 1,500 crore rupees. And their profits during that same time period have grown by 60%, from 49 crore rupees to 79 crore rupees. All right, next up, this video is sponsored by Hostinger, your one-stop platform for hosting and building websites. For any startup to make its online presence strong, it needs a website. But website building has its own challenges. You first have to buy a domain name, then you have to find a hosting service, and then you need to have decent coding skills to make your website presentable for your audience. And this is a tedious task, which is exactly where Hostinger comes in to help. With Hostinger's premium plans, you get a free domain, hosting services, and access to its amazing website builder, Zyro. Zyro is a drag-and-drop web builder that requires zero coding skills to use, and you can make beautiful websites with it in minutes. And Hostinger.in is currently running its web hosting sale 2022, where you can get all of this for as low as 139 rupees per month. Now, Hostinger has 3 plans: single, premium, and business web hosting. And if you're a small business or this is a personal website, then I would recommend going with the premium one, as it provides a free domain and other great features at a great value for money. Oh, and also during payment, you have multiple options like UPI and Paytm to complete the transaction. And Hostinger is giving a special discount to Backstage with Millionaires viewers. If you click on the link in the description down below, then you'll receive a flat discount of 7%. Or alternatively, you can use offer code BWM to avail this discount at checkout. And to make things even better, Hostinger has an exciting referral bonus too, where if you refer a friend, you stand a chance to win up to 60% of all of the purchases made by that friend. So what are you guys waiting for? Head over to hostinger.in to make and host your first website today. All right, next up in the news, this one is a bit controversial, but we wanted to keep you guys in the loop because it is something that people are talking about. An audio recording of a phone call between a Kotak Mahindra employee and allegedly one of the co-founders of BharatPe, Ashneer Grover, has surfaced. Now, we're not going to be playing the call here in this video because it's full of profane and abusive language, and whoever it was that was speaking with this Kotak Mahindra employee even threatened to kill him. But Ashneer Grover has said that it's a fake. He tweeted about that, then he later deleted the tweet. Now he's taking a voluntary leave of absence from BharatPe until April, but he is also filing a lawsuit against Kotak Mahindra Bank because he didn't get allotment in Nykaa's IPO, and this is what this is all about. Now, as we all know, Nykaa's IPO was a huge success, and so it would be understandable for someone to be very angry if they were promised allotment in that IPO but then didn't receive it, which seems to be what happened here. And especially if they were planning on investing millions of dollars and might even potentially borrow that money from lenders to invest it in the first place, which of course they would have had to pay interest on that loan, irrespective of whether they got allotment or not. Now, we're going to move on to the acquisition news here in just a second, but I think one other thing that's worth noting here is that Ashneer Grover definitely doesn't have a great reputation when it comes to his treatment of other people. And in fact, Sequoia Capital chose not to participate in BharatPe's Series B round because of the abusive and hurtful language that Ashneer Grover used against one of its managing directors. And then, of course, now too, Kotak Mahindra Bank has filed a lawsuit against Ashneer Grover for the abusive language that he allegedly used against one of their employees. So it's an ugly situation. It's bad all around. As you can probably tell, I don't like talking about these kinds of things. So let's move on to some startup news, some acquisition news. Reliance Retail has acquired a 54% stake in robotics startup Addverb Technologies in a deal worth $132 million. This acquisition is going to help Reliance to scale and automate their warehouses as they're planning to strengthen their e-commerce play with GeoMart across categories like grocery, fashion and lifestyle, pharma, and furniture. Now, as for Addverb Technologies, they're actually going to continue to operate independently, and they're going to be using these funds from Reliance to grow their international business and also to set up a new manufacturing facility in Noida, which is going to help them to increase their capacity from 10,000 to 50,000. All right, moving on to some funding news now. Wealth management platform INDMoney has raised $75 million in a funding round led by Tiger Global, SteadView Capital, and Dragoneer at a $640 million valuation. Besides this, they're also expected to raise an additional $10 million over the next few weeks. So INDMoney is building a wealth management platform that helps their users to track and manage all of their investments, including Indian stocks, US stocks, mutual funds, and insurances. And they can do this all from a single app. They've already got more than 3.5 million users on their platform, and they're going to be using these funds to offer credit cards to their users and also grow their user base to between 25 and 30 million people in the next 12 to 18 months. All right, next up in the funding news, agri-tech startup Arya.ag has raised $60 million in a funding round led by Asia Impact SA at a $300 million valuation. So Arya.ag offers post-harvest services to farmers like providing a marketplace to buy and sell commodities, warehouses for storage, and loans. They're currently helping more than 650,000 farmers across 21 states, helping them to manage 3 million metric tons of agri-commodities through 10,000 warehouses. They're going to be using these funds to offer insurance and logistics services and also to grow their annual recurring revenue from $200 million to $1 billion in the next 12 months. All right, that is all the startup news that I have for you guys this week. Big thanks to all of our Backstage with Millionaires members, our unicorns, our decacorns, and our hectacorns. And also big thanks to this week's sponsor, Hostinger. And remember guys, you can check out hostinger.in and use offer code BWM to get a 7% discount on all of your hosting needs. All right guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Backstage with Millionaires, and I will see you in the next one.